Ace Frehley died.
Yep.
What did he die of? Do we know?
He fell in his studio, apparently.
It was a while ago, right?
No, it was a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But hit his head. And I guess, Bell, was he on the life support since then?
It caused a brain bleed, and that is eventually what killed him, was the bleeding inside of his brain.
I saw a lot of people who are like big music, like Bell. Nobody's like Bell, right? He's the dictionary. He's the Bell. What do we call him?
Beltanica.
Beltanica. When it comes to music, that they weren't close anymore, were they?
Who?
The Ace with still they hadn't really made up.
With Kiss?
No,
Yeah.
they always had an on-again, off-again relationship, even when he was in the band. But Gene Simmons had talked to him a few months ago, and he, they fought because they could.
Yeah.
Ace was never fired either. He quit both times that he left the band. They didn't want to get along.
No. Well,
but they didn't hate each other. They just weren't like super tight.
And you know this as much as anything. The world of music clashing with that, bands that are super harmonious, they don't do a lot of times great things. Bands that clash.
Yeah, that conflict of personality brings all the good elements to the top.
Yeah. So, but I didn't, because I knew a bit of the story, but it was a lot of people I saw today who were like, yeah, you guys are all coming out and saying stuff about how good he was and he was our pal and he was our friend, but you guys, you didn't say anything for years. And I was like, I thought they kind of made up. It's not like Journey, right?
No, this wasn't like Journey.
You think if something happened, God forbid that something happened to Neil Schon or Steve Perry, do you think either one of them, they would have to release something?
Yeah, they'd say something, but I mean,
right?
Well, would it mean anything? I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, it's like Ken said, it's a portion of your life that our childhood and stuff that's gone.
Not only that, they were extraordinarily unique in the sense that what they did in terms of hiding their identities and having these alter egos, if they had been 5 years earlier, the music wouldn't have been accepted. And if they had been 10 years later, the paparazzi would have killed their gimmick inside of a week. So they kind of hit that sweet spot where they were able to develop that sense of uniqueness. And he as a player, he was a sloppy player. He just was he was not that technically good, but he had a sound and a swagger in his playing that gave them a uniqueness that they got from nobody else.
Yeah. Kiss has its own sound. Definitely. I mean, a Kiss song whenever you hear the riff.
Yeah. When you hear Lick It Up.
And then Paul Stanley. Going back to what we were talking about, I mean, I was never a huge Kiss fan, but they were just they were always there. They were part of my life whenever I was a kid, when everything was just great, man.
It was like Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
Part of my life, man.
Yes.
Evel Knievel was a big part of my life as a child.
Well, and they as a band were at one point were the biggest band on the planet.
Mm.
And then, whenever I changed my mind about Kiss is that movie in the 90s that came out,
Detroit Rock City.
Dazed and Confused.
Oh, Dazed and Confused, yeah.
I freaking love that movie, man. That movie was exactly what it was like whenever I was growing up in Texas around high schoolers at the time, man. There were always high school kids. I mean, us middle schoolers, we loved the high schoolers.
Yeah. Well, they were cool.
just hang out around.
They were just cooler.
Yeah.
It's like, and that was, they were like, oh my, so-and-so said hi to me.
Yeah.
That guy's pretty cool. You know who that is? That's someone, like, they were mini influencers. And that was the coolness about him.
Hey, look, they gave us a beer, man.
Uh-oh. Wow. That's why that Reverend told you that time you were going to go to heaven.
Right.
I actually met Ace one time when he was on his first club tour for his second solo album. And it was still, I mean, he was way beyond his peak of success, but it was still the coolest thing in the world to look at that face and go, that's the guy that was underneath the space makeup.
That's, yeah. That's, well, because it's a part of your childhood. That's a big part of it.
Absolutely, man.
Man, memories. That's why I tell everybody, when you see all these people in Hollywood, we've had these meetings with some of these Hollywood producers and stuff. I'm like, you guys don't even get the fact. When you mess with people's memories, their childhood, because you want to make something woke or you want to do this, when you do that, you're not, and by the way, gay or straight, doesn't even matter at that point in time. Because gay people like Star Wars too.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And you're messing with memories and childhood.
Along those lines, when they did the reunion tour, Gene and Paul brought him and Peter back both as employees. They were just paid salaries. But Paul made a comment about how they had to build a show that was what people thought they remembered.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and you look at something like the Destroyer stage on the Destroyer album tour, I think it was tiny compared to what people play on today. So he was like, we have to bring out what they thought they saw.
You
not
have
what
to bring
they
the
actually
legend.
saw. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I flip around and I for whatever reason, I have this on one of my TikToks. I get these old, like the other night I had Casey and the Sunshine Band, and I'm watching him.
Awesome.
And he goes 350 now.
Yeah.
Tries to dance around.
Does he really?
Oh, man. He's all belly. Yeah, he's all belly. Right? And he does, and you can see when he'll start spinning a couple times and he'll dance and he's like, everybody wants.
Do a little dance.
A very little dance.
Get down tonight.
Oh, and
sit down tonight.
Yeah, and it's the same. Maybe lay down. But and the same thing is with Loverboy.
Yeah, Mike has put on a few pounds.
Mike doesn't even care anymore, right?
Well, he kind of went up and down anyway, didn't he?
Yeah, he was never he got in those pants one time.
I will say, though, it doesn't seem to affect his voice quite as much as it does other people.
No, because when you listen to Casey, you're like, it doesn't sound like Casey. It kind of looks like him, but sounds like a guy's wearing a Casey. Looks like a guy's wearing a Casey meat suit.
Yeah,
like an Egger suit.